And now, with all of those logistics out of the way, I am so honored to be able to introduce to you the person who has been helping us connect the pieces, the NDA pieces, for the past 17 years, Executive Director Adrienne Andrews. Adrienne started her NDA journey, like many of us, by taking a chance, saying yes to an SND, and leaving her home in Youngstown, Ohio, for a year of service in Watsonville, California. A whirlwind of a year later, Adrienne packed up and traveled to Baltimore, Maryland, where she began working at the NDA National Office. Connecting her upbringing in Ohio, her years of service in California, and her passion for education and providing opportunity, Adrienne has opened the doors of service for NDA members since 2005. A forever student who would rather watch PBS or read Parker Palmer, except for maybe when the Olympics are on, Adrienne is a compassionate leader who sees individuals for the unique and beautiful mosaics we all are. So please help me welcome, in her final mid-year as Executive Director, Adrienne Andrews. Woo.
Thanks, Jess. And obviously I need to take a minute, first of all, to digest all of that. That is beautiful, Jess. Thank you very much. And Jess has been an exceptional leader and has stepped up in this moment of transition. And we need to thank her and John, again, these folks behind the switchboard doing these technical pieces. He's making it look easy, connecting us. Amanda on top of our communications. Aaron's been getting all these details ready for us so we can gather here. And all of our national office staff and site directors have had their hands in the mix to make this conference fun and engaging. And I feel exceptionally honored all these years and in this moment to call all of these folks colleagues and friends. And so I'm grateful to have the opportunity to welcome each of you. Coming from all corners of the US and beyond, each of you right now are just lighting up my soul. I mean, again, I was scrolling through and you all are amazing and in some beautiful places. I don't know if they're real or not, but they're all beautiful. So if you all can just take another look at the radiant beauty in this Zoom room, you all are going to bring your light and love to this mid-year meeting, and we're going to be doing some connecting all weekend long. I like to say that the magic of mid-year is that we are all a part of creating it. Your storytelling, your wisdom, sharing from your unique and diverse experiences enriches all of us. And like Jess said, that magic started for me actually in 2004. I applied to serve and I was just like, I called the national office. I literally called them on the phone and I was like, hey, I'm going to apply to your program. Where do you need people? And I think a week later, I interviewed on a Friday, and the following Wednesday, I used my last 119 bucks to buy a one-way ticket to California. And since it is my final mid-year as executive director, I've had a lot of opportunity to think about this journey. It's a wild ride. And think about that yes that I've said to NDMVA every day for the past 17 years. How have I been able to do that? What makes you say your yes every day? A sister of Notre Dame many years ago shared some wisdom with me, Sister Marie Romeco, Ball of Fire. And her wisdom was that when she took her vows at 20 years old, there was a different reason then than why she kept them 50 years later. And it's the same for me. The same yes I said at 22 has evolved, and my passions and my purpose continues to evolve. And so I think, why does this work matter? Why does it matter every day to stand up and say yes? And I think of John Lewis, you got to bring your ancestors into the room. He would say, we have to live as if we already are the beloved community. We have to live as if we already are the beloved community. And I believe in this work, we each have the opportunity to do that. In your service, in your community, you show people that they are good, that someone believes in them, they are seen and they are appreciated. So what has inspired me each day? Again, it's partially the impacts you all are making every day. I have the beautiful opportunity to see all of these beautiful numbers come together. Yeah, Jess said it, I'm a little nerdy. I'm not mad about it. And so part of the work behind the scenes is gathering the impact story, not only through the relationships we get to create with all of you serving around the country, but through these numbers. Last year alone, you all served almost 2 million pounds of food to folks who are just really challenged in this COVID moment in our life. 59% of the students that you all worked with showed improved engagement. 13,000 students we reached out to. And in our Haiti program, we have a bakery in Haiti, y'all. We offer scholarships, kind of like Ed Awards, for the workers and their kids to continue their education. So this is the kind of impact we get to be a part of. And then I think about the 6,000 NDA alumni who've come before you and who carry their service into their careers. It's all very impactful. We are shaped by all of these yeses, we have to say, and sometimes that even means saying yes to rejection. I've had to wrestle with that a few times over this 17 years of service with Notre Dame Mission Volunteers. One of the no's I had to wrestle with was actually the initial position I applied for in the national office. I was serving as a member in Watsonville, and I remember I was on my cell phone. It was like a Nokia situation. I had to pay by the minute at that moment. And I was on the phone in that interview for 2 hours with Sissy Core. Some of you all know her, a sister of Notre Dame. And I was like, I nailed that interview. Like, I crushed it. Like, this is part of the future. I know where I'm going. And like with 5 minutes left on our call, she's like, you know what? It's not going to work. I was like, what? She's like, no, this position isn't meant for you. Good luck. Bye-bye. And I said, wow. I thought I had it all figured out. Like, that was it. And so I had to really challenge myself to say yes to that piece of rejection that I saw was rejection. I had to challenge myself to realign what my dreams and my passions were with what the world's needs were for me at that moment. So we are shaped by these yeses that greet us along the journey, to the planned ones, the unplanned ones, the rejections, and the opportunities. And so I think about these 17 years too, and how service has shaped me and how it might shape you. And sometimes we aim for perfection, but we have to be okay with landing on progress. This conference over the year has also definitely shaped me. It's one of those things that every alum talks about after their year of service. They remember kids they worked with or the adults they worked with. They remember their site director. They remember mid-year. And every year we come back to the table, all of our staff and site directors, and we talk about it. Why do we need to gather again? What's so important this year that we need to gather around? And one thing we are all conscious of and we are all feeling in this moment is that the world is shifting under our feet. Our culture is evolving. We are having more conversations that need to be had. And we are also evolving as an organization. We will be going through a transition, and we were going to bring in a new director at some point. And right now we're going to be bringing in an interim director who you'll get to meet on Sunday. And that's why we need to come together to go through change together as well. Another reason we gather is to connect. We need to feel like we are a part of something bigger. We are bigger than each of our individual contributions, and you all provide some wisdom in your reflections that really help me say yes every day. Spending more time talking to the books that excite the kids you're working with, that is amazing. As Jess mentioned, we have a lot of traditions built into mid-year. And the way I think about traditions is that they bind generations. People before me, people before you have been interacting and telling stories in so many ways. Meg Wheatley says storytelling is that you do not fear the people whose story you know. Storytelling breaks down barriers and boundaries. It ties us together. And I hope you feel that spark of inspiration from each other. We gather to educate ourselves and to educate each other. We recently had this external evaluation done of our program. Dr. Rob Helfenbein from Mercer University in Atlanta, he went and took a look at things, and we wanted to know how we might make more of a positive impact on newcomers, on refugees, and on immigrants. And this quote here, he shared in his report, is that educators and advocates involved in NDMBA programs played a crucial role. So members played a crucial role in students' academic success through socio-emotional support. So not only you all doing the nuts and bolts, working with folks, trying to get them on grade level reading, trying to get them computer hooked up to these Zoom situations, but just that effort of being present to somebody else's story, somebody else's process, empowers them. We need to come together to affirm one another's journeys too. We need to educate ourselves and learn to love ourselves just a little bit more every day. Your biggest gift to the world is letting yourself be the youest you that ever was. I'm playing with some Howard Thurman quotes in there. We could talk about that another time. But this idea that you are the only you that has ever existed. And you need to allow yourself the grace to become more you. And that leads me to the next reason we need to gather is we need to grow and stretch. We believe in all of the work that we are doing together around the country. And so we invested in this weekend to gather tools and activities to prepare all of us for the long haul. I love these quotes. I just keep soaking them in. I would like to improve my self-awareness and self-care so that I can better serve our clients with patience and grace. I combined that word last year. I called it gratience. We need a little bit of that every day, especially with the challenges with COVID and our challenges in our culture. So we are at a clear inflection point in our history. How do we reflect on what we do and where we're going? Mid-year gives us an opportunity to step back from it all, to reflect, to take some time to look at the pieces that have created each and every one of us. We are working on what our ancestors have laid at our feet for better or for worse. And Jess, you nailed it with the PBS thing. I don't know about y'all, but Henry Louis Gates' Finding Your Roots is like, I could just watch that over and over again. I love watching that show because it gives me perspective on the mess of our past and the blessings of the survivors who have created us. We are all descendant from survivors, people who've found ways to thrive. And so I think about that in the context of our work as well. I've been sitting with this other quote from Jonas Salk. He was the researcher who was able to develop the polio vaccine. And he says, our greatest responsibility is to be good ancestors. How do we think about impacting the student in front of us, knowing that we also need to think about the generational impact? When you teach a kid to read, you give them the world, and that opens up opportunities generations to come. Generations from now, I want to be that ancestor that some folks are tracing back to and are proud of what we left in front of us. How do we leave the world better than how we found it? We also stand on the shoulders of other wisdom figures. The Sisters of Notre Dame have been serving for over 200 years, and they have invited us to serve alongside them and folks on the margins since 1992. This is our 30th year of service, y'all, and you all are a part of it. We carry their legacy, and we are called to continue to affect meaningful change in our communities. And our 1 year of service is just a snapshot of what sisters have dedicated their lives to. I was thinking about mid-years in the past and also the folks who have graced us. We've had the great Congressman Elijah Cummings speak with us a few times. We've had Sister Simone Campbell, Sister Helen Prejean, Greg Boyle from Homeboy Industries, Coleman McCarthy, one of the architects of Peace Corps. And this year, as Jess mentioned, tomorrow, we will be blessed to hear Deotis Williams, who is an alum and who has founded a school. And if you all are open to it, he will definitely share his soul with us tomorrow. Also, we got to look around this Zoom room. We've got all kinds of amazing folks from around the country. We've got sisters who've served in Brazil and Kenya and beyond, folks from Haiti, and our alumni from around the country. Harvest the wisdom in the room. Find folks, figure out a way to connect and to stay connected. We are only as strong as our support networks and the ancestors who've brought us here. And I have met, again, a lot of these wisdom figures in person and in spirit. You've heard me call on Thurman, and you've heard me call on John Lewis and Parker Palmer, all of these people in their words. And I need to include also Sissy, who is an icon in this space. She was part of the founding of this organization and carried it for 20 years. All of the Sisters of Notre Dame, most of which have been my mentors in so many different ways. And now each one of you. I am very much looking forward to meeting all of you in these small groups and learning from your experience and your wisdom, connecting, educating, finding ways to continue to grow together. Thank you and welcome to Midyear 2022. Pass it back to you, Jess.
Thank you so much, Adrienne. Thank you for all you've done for me. I think I can say on behalf of NDA as well, your leadership has brought us lengths over the last 17 years. So thank you. Everyone show Adrienne some love in the chat.